Hello and welcome back to another one of Paul's Beer Reviews. Hope you're doing well today. I've got what have I got for you? I've got an American Pale Ale to review for you. And it's from Amity Brew. And it's a can of their Sunnybank American Pale, coming in at 6% ABV. First Amity beer I've reviewed on the channel, so I'm quite looking forward to this. This one came in my latest Beer 52 box. Theme of the box was Yorkshire, so that tells you where they're from. So it actually says here that this particular beer, brewed and canned for Amity Brew Co. by Vocation Brewery. We all know Vocation Brewery, solid brewer. So this one was brewed and canned for them by Vocation. It's not a bad brewer to outsource your brewing for, is it? Or two, should I say. What's it say about this beer? It says Amity Brew Co. stands for community, friendship and good beer, founded by good friends over a mutual love of classic beer and new styles. Our modern brew pub is based in the historic mill in Forsley, Leeds. It's in Leeds, okay, and it's a cosy, welcoming place to enjoy a beer or two. The beer, American Pale Ale, citrus, resin and bitter, described, inspired by our love for classic West Coast American Pale Ales. We wrote a love letter to those Hallican days where a balance of malt, bitterness and drinkability was desired and tasted damn good. Ingredients: water, barley, hops, yeast. Sounds alright. So 6% ABV, 440ml. Let's get this beer out of the can. See if it's any good. Boom. That looks pretty decent in the glass. It's got a really well carbonated, quite a traditional, I would say, looking IPA. It's quite dark. Slight haze to it. You are seeing a bit through that. There's a slight haze. At the moment it's dealing with a two-finger, sort of foamy, slightly creamy looking head. Did I say there was oats in this one? There was not. But it looks quite creamy on the head. So yeah, 1.5 to 2 finger, white, creamy looking head, good levels of carbonation. Rushing up the glass there, say slight haze to it. It's say darkish amber, marmalade kind of looking beer in colour. Like I say, really good carbonation on it. Let's get me snout in, see what sort of aroma we're dealing with. Certainly straight away it's just kind of a grapefruity, piney aroma. Certainly has that kind of West Coast. Yeah, more of a West Coast aroma. Slightly tropical. Bit of malt coming through on that as well. Smells like it's going to be a well-rounded IPA. It kind of, on the pour, and a little bit on the aroma as well, it reminds me of Life and Death by Vocation, and that's one of my favourite sort of go-to IPAs. I think that's a solid beer, always have done. If it's anything like that, it promises to be pretty good. Considering this is an American Pale Ale, I'm not really sure what to expect, but let's get stuck in. Cheers. Bit of sweet malt coming through. Nice and hoppy. Certainly a bit of pininess to it. And there's a little bit of bitterness that comes through at the back end as well. I quite like that. Certainly get the influence of the American style hops on that. Quite light in the body. Straight away there's a bitterness, there's a pininess that clings hold of your mouth, clings hold of your palate, really wraps itself around your cheeks and your gums. Yeah, piney, bitter, slightly citrusy, bit of grapefruit, bit of lime. yeah, it's light. Soft on the mouthfeel, not crisp. The carbonation is gentle. There's definitely a malt character coming through as well. Very subtle, sort of caramelly. Subtle caramel, sort of malty, bready malty flavour coming through as well. I think the flavour backs up the aroma quite nicely. It's a well-rounded, very drinkable pale ale. Certainly American influence is high on this one. American hopped, certainly. But that combination of the malt and the bitterness from the hops at the back end is good. It's nicely made. That's a solid APA for Amity. I'm quite impressed with that for a first impression of these guys. I'm quite impressed with it. One more. Light, soft mouthfeel, bit of citrus, grapefruit. There's a bit of malt, subtle caramel, and then here comes that pininess, a bitterness from the hops, and it all works out quite nicely. In the back end, you still got that sort of slightly caramelly, malty taste, and it blends with the pininess and the bitterness from the hops at the back end really nicely. Yeah, I'm impressed with that. That's a good beer. That's a decent beer from Amity. I like that. I like that enough to give that a 7.5 out of 10. I think that's pretty decent. Amity Brew Co. I will certainly be checking out more of their beers. So yeah, Sunnybank American Pale, Amity Brew, 7.5 out of 10 for me. I enjoyed that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have. Until my next one, you take care.